You ever have one of those moments where your heart feels like it skips a beat, like your body knows something big is about to happen before your brain catches up? That was me the day Tyler kissed me. But let me back up. We were just teammates. That's all it was supposed to be. Nothing more, nothing complicated. Tyler Andrews was our star midfielder. Fast, aggressive, and stupidly good-looking. The kind of guy who could score a goal and wink at the bleachers like he was in a damn movie. Tall, lean muscle, constantly messy hair, and this stupid smirk that made the entire campus swoon. Me? I was the quiet one. Played defense. Kept my head down. No flair, no spotlight. Just did my job. We didn't talk much off the field. Maybe a nod in the hallway, a fist bump before practice. He had his crew, loud, rowdy guys who lived for gym selfies and post-game parties. I had, well, not much. A couple of close friends, late-night study sessions, and a Spotify playlist full of songs I'd never admit to liking. Tyler wasn't someone I thought about, at least not until preseason camp sophomore year. That's when we got paired up for drills. Again and again. Coach said it was random, but it wasn't. Tyler and I had chemistry on the field. I could read his runs. He could anticipate my passes. We clicked. And off the field, something shifted too. It started with the teasing, light, harmless stuff. He'd bump into me in the locker room, tug on my sleeve after practice, make fun of how seriously I stretched. "You always that stiff, Carter?" he'd say, flashing that damn grin. "Need me to loosen you up?" It was stupid. It was probably nothing. But I started noticing things. The way his hand would linger on my shoulder. The way he looked at me sometimes when he thought I wasn't paying attention. Like he was studying me. Like he was waiting. I told myself I was imagining it, wishful thinking or whatever. Until that one day after practice. We'd just lost a scrimmage. Coach was pissed. The mood in the locker room was tense. Cleats slamming, water bottles thrown, everyone blaming everyone. I stayed quiet. Did my usual, peeled off my gear, shoved it in my bag, and tried to become invisible. But Tyler wasn't letting me disappear that day. He followed me into the back hallway where the lockers wrapped around a corner. The others were still yelling in the main room. We were alone. He looked at me, eyes narrowed, jaw tight. "You just gonna stand there like it wasn't your fuck up too?" he snapped. I blinked. "What the hell are you talking about? You let that forward through. That goal was yours to stop." I stepped closer, heat rising in my chest. "I was covering two people, Ty. You lost your mark. Don't pin this on me." He stepped in too. "Maybe if you opened your damn mouth on the field for once. Maybe if you weren't so busy showboating." And then he shoved me. Not hard, but enough. My back hit the locker with a dull clang and I barely had time to react before he grabbed my shirt and kissed me. Just like that. No warning, no buildup. Just full lips and pressed heat and this overwhelming surge of everything I hadn't let myself feel. My brain screamed, "What the hell?" But my body didn't move. My hands gripped the edge of the locker. My heart pounded like it was trying to escape my ribs. His mouth tasted like Gatorade and sweat and something I couldn't name. When he pulled back, his eyes searched mine like he was waiting for me to punch him. Or scream. Or run. Instead, I whispered, "You're such an asshole." His lips twitched into that smirk again. "You didn't exactly push me off." I didn't know what the hell I was supposed to say after that. Tyler stood there, his body still close, like he hadn't decided whether he was about to kiss me again or punch a hole in the wall. I could still feel the heat of his breath on my skin. My heart was hammering so loud I was afraid he'd hear it. "You didn't exactly push me off." That sentence echoed in my head like a slow drum beat. Because he was right. I didn't. I just let it happen. I started, then stopped. My voice didn't even sound like mine. Tyler took a step back, running a hand through his sweat-soaked hair. "Shit," he muttered. "That was..." I waited. Nothing. Just silence and the distant sound of someone yelling about protein shakes back in the locker room. "That was stupid," he said finally, eyes dropping to the floor. It felt like someone sucker punched me, like the moment had already vanished into the air like steam after a shower. "Yeah," I mumbled, trying to sound casual even though my throat felt like it was closing. "Don't worry about it." He glanced up at me. "That's not what I meant." I looked away. "Carter?" "What?" I snapped, a little sharper than I meant to. "You kiss me out of nowhere, then act like it's some joke." "What do you want me to say?" He looked genuinely caught off guard. "It wasn't a joke." We stared at each other for a second too long. Then someone banged a locker around the corner, and just like that, the moment was gone. Tyler cursed under his breath. "Don't say anything, all right?" "Wasn't planning to," I said quickly. He nodded, jaw tight. Then he turned and walked off, like it was just another practice, another argument, another Tuesday. But I didn't move for a long time. Things were weird after that. Not in an obvious way. Tyler was still loud in the locker room, still cracked jokes with the guys, still acted like nothing had happened, but I felt it. In the way he avoided me after drills, in how he never made eye contact during scrimmage, in how his laugh was a little too forced when I was around. It was like he hit pause on something and didn't know how to hit play again. And I hated how much it messed with me. Because now I couldn't stop thinking about it. About him. About how good his mouth had felt on mine. How that moment, brief and impulsive, had lit up something I didn't even realize I'd buried. The next few days blurred. Classes, practice, late night runs that didn't clear my head. I kept waiting for him to bring it up, to say anything. But he didn't. Not until the night we had the team party. Someone's house off campus, beer flowing, music shaking the floorboards, guys being loud and reckless, girls everywhere, someone trying to light a beer pong table on fire. I tried to enjoy it. Really, I did. Then I saw Tyler across the room, leaning against the wall with a red cup in his hand, talking to some girl I didn't recognize. She was laughing at something he said, touching his arm like it was nothing, and for some reason, that hit harder than the kiss. I turned around and headed for the kitchen, trying not to feel the way I was feeling. I grabbed a beer, didn't care what brand, and opened the back door to get some air. I'd only been outside a minute when the door creaked again behind me. I didn't have to turn around. "Why'd you leave?" Tyler's voice was low, almost hesitant. I took a sip. "Didn't feel like watching you flirt all night." Silence. "You jealous?" he asked. I turned slowly, meeting his eyes in the dark. Would it matter if I was? Something shifted in his face. That cocky expression softened, like a mask slipping. "Yeah," he said quietly. "It would." I swallowed, throat dry. "Why?" He stepped closer. "Because I haven't stopped thinking about that kiss since it happened." My fingers tightened around the beer bottle. I didn't say anything right away. Because what could I say? Tyler was standing in front of me, still wearing that same fitted hoodie from practice. Sleeves pushed up, jaw clenched like he was waiting for me to either laugh in his face or punch him. Instead, I asked quietly, "Then why are you acting like it didn't happen?" He looked away, jaw working, like he was chewing on a dozen words and none of them tasted right. "Because I don't know what I'm doing, okay?" His voice was tight. I've never wanted something like this before. "Like me?" I corrected, a little sharper than I intended. His eyes flicked back to mine. "Yeah, like you." We stood in silence for a beat. A car passed by in the distance. Inside, the party thudded on like none of this was happening. Tyler ran a hand through his hair. "I'm not good at this stuff." "You think I am?" I said, a bitter laugh slipping out. "You think I've got some manual on what to do when the guy I've been trying not to want suddenly kisses me in the locker room and then ghosts me all week?" He flinched. "I didn't ghost you. You avoided me. I was figuring it out." By flirting with some random girl at a party? He stepped forward. That wasn't. I wasn't trying to. He stopped himself, exhaled. Look, that kiss freaked me out, all right? Not because I regret it, but because I don't. And I've never felt this way about a guy before. My chest felt tight. So what now? He shrugged helplessly. I don't know, I keep thinking about it. About you. I don't know what to do with that. I studied him. The way his hands were shoved into his pockets, the tension in his shoulders, the fear in his eyes he was trying to mask with a half-casual stance. And I realized then, it wasn't a game. This wasn't some dumb locker room dare or a fleeting impulse. This was real. And it scared the hell out of him. And if I was honest, it scared me too. I took a step closer. You don't have to know everything right now, I said. But you can't kiss me like that and expect me to pretend it didn't mean anything. He nodded, voice low. It did. It does. For a second, the air between us went still, that electric tension, that pull. Then, slowly, he reached up and touched my wrist, just a light brush of his fingers against my skin. Can we go somewhere to talk? Somewhere quiet? I nodded. Yeah. We slipped out the side gate, walked down the sidewalk in silence, shoulders brushing occasionally, not saying anything, but everything had changed. We ended up at the empty field behind the rec center, the same one where we sometimes did late-night drills when we wanted extra reps. It was quiet now, lit only by the faint orange glow of street lamps. Tyler dropped down on the grass. I sat beside him, legs stretched out in front of me. He glanced sideways. I kissed you because I wanted to, not to mess with you, not as some experiment. It just happened, and I'm not sorry. I didn't think you were, I said, softer now. I've been trying to figure it out all week. Why I feel like this, why I want to feel like this. You're the only one I've been thinking about, man. I looked at him, really looked. For once, he didn't have that cocky armor on. He looked vulnerable, unsteady, but honest. What do you want from me? I asked. He hesitated, then leaned back on his elbows, eyes fixed on the stars. I want to stop pretending I don't like you, I breathed out. Okay. He looked over, smile twitching at the corner of his mouth. Yeah. There was a pause, and then he said, Can I kiss you again? I didn't answer, just leaned in and did it myself this time. This one was slower, less heat, more meaning. His hand slid behind my neck, pulling me a little closer, and for a second, the world shrank to just the two of us, sitting under the stars in an empty field, finally not pretending. The next morning was weird. Not bad weird, just that strange kind of quiet where everything feels different even though nothing's changed. Like the world's still spinning, but you're walking through it a little slower. Tyler texted me around 9 a.m. You up? I stared at the message longer than I should have before replying, Yeah. 3 dots popped up, then disappeared, then popped up again. Finally, want to meet for breakfast? We met at this off-campus diner we both liked. Greasy hash browns, shitty coffee, vinyl booths that stuck to your skin if you sat too long. The kind of place where you could talk about anything or nothing at all. He was already there when I arrived. Hoodie pulled up, baseball cap low, sunglasses like he was dodging paparazzi. I slid into the booth across from him. You look like you just committed a felony, I said. He smirked. Just didn't want anyone from the team walking in. Relax, it's a Sunday. They're all probably still passed out or hungover. Still, he said, sipping his coffee, I don't know how to do this. Do what? This, he said, gesturing between us. Whatever this is now. I stirred my creamer into the coffee. We don't have to define anything right away. But it's more than nothing, right? He asked, suddenly serious. Yeah, I said, looking him in the eye. It's more than nothing. He exhaled like he'd been holding his breath all morning. The next couple weeks were complicated. We didn't tell anyone, not because we were ashamed, but because we didn't know what we were yet. There were no labels, no declarations, just stolen moments between practice and classes. A quiet conversation in the equipment room. A late-night walk after everyone else left the field. That time I stayed late at the gym and he showed up. Just happened to be nearby, and we ended up kissing behind the bleachers like we were 16. And God, every time we touched it felt electric. But it wasn't just physical. That was the part that scared me. He started telling me things. Real things. About his family, his doubts, how he didn't know who he was outside of soccer and noise and always being that guy. He let me see the soft parts of him, the parts no one else got. I let him see mine too. And for a while, it felt like we were living in this bubble where nothing could touch us. Until it burst. It was after a home game. We'd won. Barely. And everyone was hyped. Guys were spraying Gatorade, coach was beaming, and the locker room was louder than ever. I was tying my cleats when I felt someone watching me. I looked up. Tyler. Across the room, eyes locked on mine. And then someone clapped him on the back, laughing, pulling him into a photo. The moment broke. After the game, a bunch of the team was heading to a bar. Tyler pulled me aside as we were leaving. "Want to come back to mine instead?" he asked, voice low. I hesitated. "What about the guys?" "They'll be too drunk to notice. I want to be alone with you." That should have been the best thing to hear. But the way he said it, the alone with you, it felt like something else, like hidden with you. Still, I nodded. Okay. We sat on the floor of his bedroom that night, eating takeout from paper boxes, shoulders brushing. "This isn't sustainable," I said finally, setting my noodles aside. "What isn't?" "Hiding." He was quiet. "I'm not asking you to come out to the whole team," I added quickly. "But I don't want to feel like I'm some secret you're ashamed of." He looked at me then. Really looked. "I'm not ashamed of you." "Then why does it feel like you are?" Tyler dropped his gaze. "Because I don't know how to be this person. The guy who likes a guy. I've never even thought about that before you." I nodded slowly. "I get that. I do. But I need to know you're not going to disappear on me again." "I won't," he said, voice firmer now. "I swear. I need time." I leaned my head back against the wall. "I'll give you time. But not forever." He reached over, his fingers brushing mine. "I know. And I don't want forever to start without you." After that night in his room, something between us shifted. Not in a bad way. It just got real. Tyler started making space for me. Not just physically, but emotionally. He'd wait after practice so we could walk out together. He started texting me more, random stuff, like memes or dumb thoughts in the middle of class, the kind of little things that make you feel seen. And then, one night, he invited me to his place when his roommates were out. We weren't close. We barely even kissed. We just laid on his bed, shoulder to shoulder, half watching a movie, half not. I remember he kept fidgeting with the hem of my hoodie, like he didn't want to stop touching me. "You know what sucks?" he said suddenly, eyes still on the ceiling. "What? I'm happier right now than I've been in months, and I can't tell anyone why." I didn't say anything at first, just let the silence settle between us. Then I reached for his hand. "You don't have to tell them yet," I said, "but you don't have to hide it from yourself either." He squeezed my fingers. "I'm not anymore." A few days later, it happened. We were in the locker room after practice. The usual noise, music, guys tossing towels and shouting across the room. Tyler was sitting a few lockers down from me, towel slung low on his hips, scrolling through his phone. And then it slipped. One of the guys, Troy, called out from across the room. "Yo, Andrews, you still meeting up with those sorority girls tonight, or what?" Tyler glanced up, then looked over at me for the briefest second. A flicker. Barely even a pause. "Nah," he said. "Got plans." "With who?" Troy grinned, and Tyler, without missing a beat, said, "With someone who actually matters." Then he looked at me. Just for a second. Not long. Not obvious. But it felt like a bomb went off in my chest. He didn't out me. Didn't even say anything clear enough to draw suspicion. But that look, that tiny act of recognition, It was his way of saying, "I see you." I left the locker room with my chest tight and a stupid grin I couldn't shake. Of course, the high didn't last forever. About a week later, I walked into the locker room early. No one else was there yet, except Tyler, sitting alone on the bench, elbows on his knees, staring at the floor. I knew that posture, that look. I sat down beside him. "What's going on?" He didn't answer right away, just took a deep breath. "Someone saw us." My heart dropped. "Who?" He didn't say. "Tyler." He turned to me. "I don't know, but someone said something to Coach." "What?" "Nothing specific, just a comment about team dynamics and some concern about locker room boundaries." His voice was tight. "Coach pulled me aside, said it's not a big deal, but that I should be mindful." My stomach churned. "So what now?" "I don't know," he said. I told him it was nothing, that I don't know what the hell they were talking about. I stayed quiet. Then he added, "I hate that I lied." We sat there, the quiet buzzing between us. "I'm not ashamed of you," he said, barely above a whisper. I didn't want the team to turn on you." "Or on you," I said softly. "Yeah." I looked at him. "Do you regret it?" "Us?" His eyes locked on mine. "No. Not even a little." And then, for the first time, right there in the empty locker room, he reached out and took my hand. No hiding, no fear, just us. If I'm being honest, after that day in the locker room, I expected the worst. I figured the team would start acting different. I braced for it. Sidelong glances, whispered jokes, cold shoulders during practice. I was ready for everything to fall apart, but nothing happened. Not at first, anyway. Tyler didn't pull away. If anything, he leaned in more. Subtle stuff. Walking next to me when we ran drills, brushing against me during stretches like it was nothing. But we both knew it wasn't nothing. It was everything. We started spending more time off the field. Late night drives. Study sessions where neither of us got much studying done. I'd crash at his place sometimes. He'd crash at mine. It became normal, even if no one else knew. And it felt good. It felt like something we could build a life around, even if we were just two college guys trying to figure ourselves out. But then came the road trip. We had an away game against a team 2 states over. 8 hours on a cramped bus, cheap motels, and greasy diner food. The usual. Coach assigned roommates. I got paired with Jake, our backup keeper. Tyler got Troy. And I hated it. Not because I didn't like Jake, he was fine. But it was the first time in weeks that Tyler and I wouldn't be able to steal a few minutes alone. And more than that, I couldn't shake this feeling in my gut, like something was going to shift. The game went well. We won. Tyler scored. Everyone was buzzing. That night, the team hit a local dive bar. Coach turned a blind eye. As long as no one got arrested or trashed, we went. I wasn't really feeling it, but Tyler insisted. At first, it was fun. Cheap drinks, terrible music, the team laughing like we didn't have a care in the world. But then I saw it. Some girl, brunette, tight dress, heels too high, walked up to Tyler, said something. He laughed. She touched his arm. He didn't move away. I watched the whole thing from across the room, my beer warm in my hand, my jaw clenched so tight it hurt. Jake noticed. "You good?" "Yeah, I lied, I wasn't." When Tyler finally walked away from her and headed toward the bar, I followed. "What the hell was that?" I said under my breath. He blinked. "What?" "The girl. She just asked if we were from the college. I wasn't flirting." "Sure looked like it," he exhaled sharply. "Seriously? You're mad because a girl talked to me?" "I'm mad because you didn't stop her." He stepped closer. "You want me to yell across a bar that I'm taken by the guy I'm not even out with yet?" That hit like a punch to the ribs. I looked away. "Forget it, Carter." "No, it's fine," I said, brushing past him. "You're right, you're not out. You're not anything, right?" I left the bar before he could answer. Back at the motel, I couldn't sleep. I lay there staring at the ceiling, the cheap air conditioner humming, Jake snoring quietly across the room. I kept replaying it in my head, the look on her face, the way he smiled at her, the way my chest burned. Around 2 a.m., there was a soft knock on our door. I didn't move. Then my phone buzzed. "Tyler, come outside." I slid on my hoodie and quietly stepped out into the hallway. He was leaning against the vending machine, barefoot, hoodie up, hair messy. "I'm sorry," he said before I could speak. "I know it wasn't a big deal," I said quietly. "It just felt like one. It was stupid. I should have said something, or just walked away." I nodded, not sure what else to say. He stepped closer. "I hate that I can't just grab your hand in front of everyone. I hate that you think I don't want to." "Do you?" I asked, voice barely above a whisper, his eyes locked on mine. "More than anything." And then he kissed me. Right there in the motel hallway, between the soda machine and a busted ice dispenser, he kissed me like the world didn't matter. It wasn't heated or rushed. It was slow. Sure. Like he was telling me something without words. When he pulled back, he rested his forehead against mine. "I'm working on it," he whispered. "I'm trying. For you." I nodded. Okay. The rest of the season passed in this weird in-between. Tyler and I were us. Quietly. Secretly. Sometimes recklessly. There were nights he'd sneak into my dorm room after everyone was asleep. Mornings where he'd text me a dumb selfie from the locker room mirror just to say he missed me, even though we'd see each other an hour later. I started keeping his hoodie in my bag because I liked the way it smelled. We were careful, but not invisible. Not really. A couple guys on the team started giving us looks. Nothing aggressive. Just the kind of silence that says more than words ever could. One day, during warm-ups, Troy muttered something under his breath when Tyler passed him. I didn't hear what it was, but Tyler did. And he didn't even flinch. Later that night, I asked him about it. We were sitting on the floor of my room, sharing a protein bar and watching some old highlight reels on mute. "You okay?" I asked. He nodded. "Yeah." Whatever he said. Doesn't matter. He cut in. Then he looked at me. "Not more than you do." And that was the thing about Tyler. When he let himself care, he really cared. Then, one afternoon, it all blew open. We were doing post-practice drills, running small field scrimmages with mixed positions. Tyler was on the opposite team. We were both going for the ball, hard, and we collided. Harder than necessary. I hit the ground. He went down too. The whole field paused for a beat. Coach blew the whistle. Someone yelled, "Jesus, are you two trying to kill each other?" Tyler looked at me, breathless, face flushed. "You good?" "Yeah," I said, brushing him off. "You?" He nodded. We stood, but then Troy said it, loud enough for everyone to hear. "Careful, Andrews. Don't want to knock your boyfriend out." Everything stopped. Someone chuckled nervously. Someone else cleared their throat. Tyler turned to face him. "What's that supposed to mean?" Troy smirked. "Just saying. You two seem close, real tight lately." Coach yelled something, probably to keep it from escalating, but it was too late. The moment was out there now, floating, infecting the air. Tyler walked away. So did I. The rest of practice dragged. That night, I sat on my bed, phone buzzing with texts from teammates that were vague and awkward. A few from guys I barely talked to. Stuff like, "Hey man, you good?" Ignore Troy, he's an asshole. Didn't know, but like, it's whatever. Which is the worst way of saying, I don't understand you, but I'll tolerate you. I didn't answer any of them. Then Tyler called. "Can I come over?" he asked. Yeah. He showed up 20 minutes later, hair wet from a shower, still in his team sweats. He looked tired. "I'm not hiding anymore," he said as soon as the door shut. I blinked. What? Troy knows, the team suspects. Everyone's already talking, so what's the point? "You sure about this?" I asked quietly. "I'm sure about you," he said, "and I'm tired of pretending that's not the best thing that's happened to me this year." I just stood there, stunned. Then I stepped forward and kissed him. Not hard, not desperate, just honest. And when we pulled apart, he leaned his forehead against mine and whispered, "I love you, Carter." The words hit me like a wave. Warm, crushing, perfect. I didn't say anything at first, because I didn't have to. I just kissed him again and hoped he could feel that I loved him too. Coming out wasn't some dramatic all eyes on us moment. It was quiet. It was Tyler walking into practice the next day like nothing had changed, except he didn't pull away when I walked beside him. He didn't flinch when we stood close in lineups. He didn't hide the way he looked at me. And slowly, the rest of the team stopped pretending they didn't notice. There were questions. Some jokes that weren't really jokes. A few sideways glances from guys who weren't quite ready to understand it. But no one said anything cruel. No one crossed the line. The silence didn't feel hostile. It felt like the beginning of something shifting. And Tyler? He changed. Not overnight, but in ways that mattered. He started showing up in ways I never thought he would. If someone made a stupid comment, he shut it down. If I was too quiet, he checked in. If I needed space, he gave it. But when I needed him close, he was there. Always. He even started doing this thing before games. He tapped my shin guards before we walked onto the field. Just once. Light. But it was his way of saying I'm with you. And the first time I scored a goal all season, he was the first one there. Arms around me, face pressed to the side of my neck, crowd roaring around us. No hesitation, no fear. Just him and me, in a moment we didn't have to hide anymore. We didn't become that couple. We weren't posting selfies or broadcasting anything. But we also didn't pretend anymore. Tyler came with me to a team dinner, sat beside me, nudged my leg under the table like he always used to when no one was looking, except this time I nudged back. And someone saw, and no one said anything. Just a couple smiles, a few nods. Acceptance isn't always loud. Sometimes it's just a quiet shift, where the weight you've been carrying doesn't feel so heavy anymore. Months passed. Winter melted into spring. The season ended. And one afternoon, we were sitting on the bleachers after our final home game, the field empty, gear tossed beside us, sunset dripping gold over everything. Tyler leaned back, resting his elbows behind him. "You remember the first time I kissed you?" he asked. "Yeah," I said. "You pushed me into a locker." He laughed. "Romantic, huh?" I nudged him. It worked. He turned to me, face soft now. "I didn't know what I was doing then." "I know. But I do now," he said. "I know I want to keep choosing you, not just here, not just while we're teammates, for real." I blinked. "You serious?" He nodded. "Dead serious." I didn't say anything, just slid my hand into his, fingers threading like they were always meant to fit. We sat there until the sky faded into indigo, holding hands in the quiet, not saying much, not needing to. Because sometimes, the best stories aren't the loud ones. They're the slow burns, the ones that start with tension and end with something real. We were just teammates, until we weren't,